Kosho has entered the building. So
sorry, let me turn it.
It's okay, we can hear you.
Ah, okay.
Kosho, as I said, Kosho has entered the building, re-entered Amidaji Sangha after 2 years of wandering into
into other corners of the Pure Land world. Yes.
yes.
Thank you for having me, Namo Amida Butsu. Hello, everyone. Jodo Shinshu.
Namo Amida Butsu.
Namo Amida Butsu.
Namo Amida Butsu. If you can, so we can see your image so that we know that you are there.
Ah, yeah. Let me see. Namo Amida Butsu.
Namo Amida Butsu. Did you guys saw his testimony, his one of the last videos, one of my previous videos that I posted on my YouTube channel with Kosho explaining his wanderings in various Pure Land schools? Did you see those videos?
Yes.
You saw it. You too, Joshin.
Yes, and it's going to prompt me to ask some questions.
Yes, please.
So it inspired me. I watched, his account of trying out other Buddhist Pure Land practices in schools. And I've noticed watching YouTube, there are a lot of so-called Buddhists that when you look at their altars, you look at their shrines, and you listen to what they say, a lot of what they talk about isn't recognizable to me as even being Buddhist. It's strange. I've noticed, especially in Chinese Buddhism, that they will try to mix Tao and Taoist gods and deities with their Buddhist practice. And I remember once when I was a Zen practitioner, I had a Taiwanese Zen Buddhist tell me, if you really want to know about Buddhism, study the Tao Te Chi. And I was wondering, did Shinran or Rinyo say anything about the Tao as it pertains to Buddhism? Because what I experience as a Jodo Shinshu Buddhist is totally different from what a lot of people tend to view as Buddhist. I don't know. This isn't everybody. It's just certain schools I've noticed. They mix stuff.
Well, if I may say, this has been a problem throughout the history of Buddhism, even in Shinran and Renyo's time and in Honen's time. There were many priests or many so-called monks and nuns who combined, devotion for the kamis, or in Shintoism, which is the national or the traditional religion of Japan. They worship spirits. It's like a shaman. It's like a shamanistic religion in which they worship the spirits of nature. So. Shinran and Renyo, they criticized these people. They said that they were like putting on a show, putting on an appearance that they were Buddhist, but in reality, they didn't believe in the Buddha, the Dharma, or the Sangha. And this is a problem nowadays, especially when so many temples have embraced New Age ideas, New Age beliefs. In China, there are many temples who also worship Taoist, as you said, deities, and I think that Joshua Sensei has been very clear, quoting the sutras and quoting the shastras and the commentaries of Shinran, Renyo, that this is not acceptable. That from the moment that you worship a spirit that is not a Buddhist deity or a Buddha, or a Dharma protector, yes, or a Bodhisattva, and you start to worship the gods of the earth and the heavens,
Repeat the last the last sentence,
Sorry.
because I couldn't hear you.
That from the moment that you start to worship deities outside of the Buddha Dharma, you cannot be even considered a Buddhist. You know what I mean? So it's not even it is not like a small inconvenience. It's like from the first moment that you start to worship deities outside of the Buddha Dharma, you cannot be considered to be a Buddhist because you have broken your refuge vows. Okay.
Yes.
I don't know if you can hear me. Yes. So yes, as Yoshin said, there is an environment outside. I mean, Amidaji is an example of a temple that is doing its job. But as I told Yosho Sensei, it shouldn't be. I mean, it would be nice if Amidaji wasn't like an example, or if it wasn't like something special, because what we do in Amidaji is what all temples are supposed to do. You know, is what all Buddhist temples are supposed to do. They should be teaching only the Buddha Dharma, and that's it. Yes, and of course there are specific ways of practicing the Dharma, no, the specific Dharma door. But as I told you guys in the video, what I noticed when I went to other Pure Land schools is that sometimes that they have very nice books and stuff, but they don't remind people of what they are doing. So it's like an invitation for people to start combining stuff. You know, I had the experience of many people there who called themselves Buddhist, but actually they were combining other religions and stuff. And I noticed that they weren't being corrected by their teachers, you know? So it's like, I don't know, that really disappointed me, you know? Because one of the things that you are looking in a temple is people that try to correct your mistakes. That's what you are in a lineage, that you are supposed to get guidance. And I wasn't seeing that in many of the sanghas that I visited. Pure Land sanghas, yes. If anything, is even more scandalous, because we should be talking about the reality of Amida Buddha, the understanding of the basics of Pure Land Buddhism. But I think that the problem is so deep, is so bad, that it is not even concerning Pure Land Buddhism, but Buddhism in general. I think is under attack, yes, by various modernist views and various wrong views that people tend to ignore. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, me and Sensei talked the other day about someone we knew on Facebook. I won't mention the name, but this person calls himself a Christian, and yet they will do quotes of Rinyo and Shinran. And you had people like that Vietnamese monk that you did an article on, Sensei, that actually promote this kind of knowledge, that you can be a Buddhist and a Christian, and you can be a Buddhist and into astrology, you can be a Buddhist and worship Taoist deities. It's really sad, you know, for a lot of people that identify as Buddhist, I don't think they know what they believe. And I think it's the teacher's fault. You know, it's you know, these so-called Buddhist masters that say, you know, whatever makes you happy makes the Buddha happy, which is the opposite of what we do when we take refuge in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha.
Yes.
Yes, there was a person who wanted to join Amidaji recently, a person from Germany, but I refused him because he has a history of many comings and goings to Jodo Shinshu. He used to come to Jodo Shinshu, then go to Christianity, and then to other types of Buddhism and so on. And if you can find him on the website, he has like a page And in his biography, he describes himself as a writer, poet, fan of the paranormal and mysterious, that's okay, student of Buddhism, agnostic Christian, and devotee of Mary Magdalene as the emanation of Sophia wisdom. So, you see, it's impossible to be also a member of Amidaji if you call yourself like this. But even he said that such things are in the past. But I said that I don't trust him because I know his many comings and goings. You know, this page is still online, so I don't know. He should have deleted it, but it is not deleted. So, and I told him that he can't convince me of his. You know, other schools, perhaps other groups, are eager for membership. They want many members. They like to have many members, while we are not hungry for people. You know, we just want to have quality, not quantity. And perhaps when we have too many members, we have to start asking if there is a problem with us. Perhaps we are too, you know. So
yeah,
we have.
I had a problem with him a long time ago on Facebook, and it was over him using the term true and real Shinjin. And you cannot be a person who practices Christianity and refer to yourself as a person of true and real Shinjin. True and real Shinjin is exclusive focus on Amida Buddha, exclusively
Yes.
saying his name. And so, no, I don't trust the guy.
Yes, because it's in the primal vow, Amida Buddha said, entrust to me. That is to him, to Amida Buddha. He didn't say you can trust to me and to other gods and so on. So, and you know, some time ago, there was a guy on Twitter who wanted to annoy me, you know, to make me angry by saying that, oh, you don't have many students. I said, I don't give a shit about this, you know. And I suddenly remembered, a Tibetan master in Europe, not in Tibet, in Europe. And there was a group of Zen monks that I knew, and they visited him in his place of practice in Europe. And he was alone there, practicing alone. And one Zen monk asked him, "What, don't you have any disciples?" And the Tibetan master said, "Do I look like I need any disciple?" So, no, we are not eager for many students and so on. We are not like that. And we follow Renio's saying, who said that the power of our school does not rest in big gatherings of people, but in only one person attaining true faith. So this is very important. One of the reasons why we have the so-called precepts of faith, which are not actually precepts, because they are not about morality, but they tell you what you should not do. Because as Kosho said, in many groups, Pure Land groups, people are not told what they should do or not do in order to have faith, in order to walk the right path. So we offer clear guidance. As a disciple of Amida, you should never deny the existence of Amida and so on. You should never create the causes and conditions for denying the existence of Amida and so on. And you know the precepts of faith. So first we list 8 elements of faith that you can find in our master's writings, and then we say you should not go against this. See, it's because people need clear guidance, especially in these chaotical times. Yes.
Yes. I think one important point is, or what makes our group so strong is that when you teach, that you focus on the basics, and there's nothing which is not necessary around. I think many branches of Buddhism and many schools of Buddhism, they focus more on the ritual. not on the content. The content is this, what should be transmitted by the rituals. And when branches and schools get too big, they develop very large rituals, complex things, and the content, it's a process, but I think that the content is vanishing behind the rituals itself. And the rituals are also, these things attracting more and more people, because people think this is a kind of entertainment, at least. When you say, I like very much our small Nimbutsu liturgy, everything is in, but it's in a very short and brief form. It's not too much. If you, for example, if you compare this with other, like Hongwanji style, where the ritual itself, before they begin to discuss anything, it can take about an hour with all these liturgies and singing and stand up, sit down, do this, do that. So people, they lose the point. They think they do the work, let's say, call it the work. They do it by doing the ritual, and then they feel better. But they lose completely the point to talk about the content. What is the point that should be transmitted? What is the message hidden inside the rituals? And I think this is a big advantage of our group and of the Amidaji in general, that we focus more on the core. On the core, we have a small liturgical part, but then we have an exchange. We talk about the Dharma. We talk about what is important. And I think if we keep this, we will attract always the right ones. And people seeking for entertainment, well, there's a big, wide, open world, and they can find entertainment wherever they want, but definitely not in this Sangha. Here we work, so to speak. Yeah, this is my opinion. Yeah.
We are focused on discussing the Dharma and asking questions, because that's what's important. This is what Renio said we should do when people meet at least once a month. This is why at Amidaji also, in the temple, in the physical temple, we have a short ceremony, but then we talk more about, so the talking time is larger than the service. Yes.
And I think for a lot of people, Buddhism is just something they do. And I found that when I was a Christian, church was something to do, somewhere to go. And the difference is at Amidaji, Amida Buddha is not a metaphor. He's not a representation for enlightenment. The Pure Land is not some vague metaphor for nirvana. Amida is a real component in my life. He is the focus of my life. He is the prime focus of my life. You know, even though I'm a bamboo, even though I'm a distracted spiritual idiot, ultimately Amida is real. The Pure Land is real. Only the Nembutsu is true and real. And I think in a lot of Buddhist groups, it's kind of like a trendy, exotic thing. And I noticed that for a lot of Buddhist temples I used to go to, it was about a certain ethnicity, a certain culture group, a certain tax bracket, you know. And here at Amidaji, it doesn't matter where you're from, what country you're from, who you are, how much money you make. We're here to focus on one thing, and that one thing is Amida and the primal vow. You know, we are here to focus on the primal vow. We are the school of the primal vow. We're here to entrust ourselves to the real Buddha Amida, say his name in faith and gratitude, and wish to be born in his Pure Land. And that simplicity, I think, is what is the glue that holds us together as a Sangha. That's my opinion.
Yes, Amida Buddha is an everyday presence for us. We talk directly with Amida Buddha. We say Nembutsu to him directly. So, and we know that he sees us, that he hears us. So, yes, for us, Nembutsu and Amida Buddha is always present. Yes. And that is the point that Amidaji stresses about. The reality and and that the reality of Amida Buddha and his Pure Land, and that Amida Buddha is always present, always sees you, always hears you. That's very important, because without a real object of faith, there cannot be any true faith, you know. And this is why we want to go to the Pure Land. And we want to help others go to the Pure Land, and they can go there only through a real Amida Buddha. Yes. Miyokaku, are you there? Yes, you are there. You also said, he mentions in his spiritual autobiography that he was convinced about the reality of the Pure Land since before he came to Jodo Shinshu. But you didn't, you met some people in your past who were not so clear about the reality of the Pure Land, or who denied this reality. Please share with us something about this.
Thank you, Sensei. Namo Amida Butsu. In accordance to what you are asking, and also what Yoshin is asking, I wanted to tell you, Yoshin, that thing, and there's a video from you, that thing hits back home. Because I was near the Houston area. So these Korean and Vietnamese, I'm gonna call them social clubs, they had that issue. And I understand why they do that, because you were born into Buddhism, but you are not looking. Same thing that is telling, that Kishin is telling, like the essence is lost, the message is lost. You need the Buddha, you need to acknowledge that there is existence of a Buddha, because without that, it's gonna be extremely difficult for one to achieve this level of sincerity on giving up. So this temple that I went to, it was very interesting, because on one hand you had the Vietnamese community, and they had a true faithful believing in Amida being real and also the Pure Land being real. However, my teacher, and I'm not judging him, he actually gave me refuge in a very honest way. He was Shingon. So whenever we talk about these things, whenever there was the rare chance of him and me interacting, his message will be, okay, well, he's a Buddha, because evidently he's a Buddha, and Shakyamuni talks about him. But the Pure Land is more like a state of mind where you have to keep it, bring it here and now. And it's more like you aiming to have within you the virtues of having a favorable state of mind, so you can achieve Buddhahood in an easier way. And that is where the problem comes in, because there was also this yuppie white community, which I couldn't really relate, even though we were pretty much at the same. It comes like an ego struggle, like a show of status and knowledge and refinement. And I remember every single time I have to be with them, I have to show them my pedigree in Buddhism, so they could finally accept me and treat me on an equal basis, not like the lesser value element at that specific Sangha. The problem is, if you really think about it, and this is what I like Jodo Shinshu, and this is why the Renyo the Reformer, Shinran, Renyo Honen, and what you're doing, Sensei, Josho, Cirlea, it's going back to the root, to the essence, because it's like if you have practiced martial arts, yeah, you can go to the street and you can find like a local park and you can start doing some projections here and there and some sparring, but it's never going to be the same as you have a dedicated dojo. You need the infrastructure. In terms of practical means, you need the infrastructure, you need the proper conditions. Otherwise, people are going to get hurt. You need privacy, you need a way away from the distractions of samsara. And this is the part where I couldn't really connect with my previous teacher, because it's like trying to explain someone that evidently if Buddhas have Pure Lands, they have to be real. The mental continuum, the physical abutment of that mental continuum has to be somewhere. You have to be manifest in some kind of form until you achieve Buddhahood. You have to go to a safe nest. I don't want to use the example of a cocoon because that's the embryonic stage, but in order for that transformation to happen, you need to have the proper infrastructure and the right set of conditions so it can happen in time and manner. So I think this is the difference between Jodo Shinshu and I always saw all of these schools that are trying to bring people in just by like throwing everything at it. And look, we have a plethora of things for you to identify. And that's not what Buddhism is about. Buddhism is about you have a problem, you gotta die. And if you don't do something about it, you're gonna keep just tumbling like a tumbleweed over and over and over again. And I think this message has been lost. So I think it's one of the very key aspects of Jodo Shinshu. And for all of us that we've been like rolling around like tumbling weeds, finding the solution to this problem of death and rebirth and realizing that it's not gonna take us like 400 kalpas or something, that is what counts. So that's my 2 cents on the matter. Namo Amidaji.
I have here a quote from Honen in which he speaks about the difference on how the Shingon school sees Amida and how we in the Pure Land school see Amida. He said, Honen says, although there is one Amida Buddha, his teachings have different interpretations. The Shingon school teaches that Amida Buddha resides in one's heart. They do not admit his existence outside of one's heart. The Pure Land school, however, teaches that Bodhisattva Dharmakara realized Buddhahood and became Amida Buddha and now resides in the West, in his Pure Land in the West. These two viewpoints reflect great differences between the two schools. It's very important. So Amida Buddha is real and he has a real Pure Land. That is very important. And people should know that, states of mind do not exclude forms. For example, our samsaric state of mind manifests outside as a samsaric environment. Human mind dwells in a samsaric human environment. The mind of hell dwellers manifested a hellish samsaric environment, and so on until the God's realm. And also the enlightened ones naturally manifest enlightened realms. They can't manifest samsaric realms. Only unenlightened minds, samsaric minds, automatically manifest samsaric realms. And also enlightened minds automatically manifest enlightened realms. So enlightenment does not exclude forms and manifestations. Actually, enlightenment is always associated with enlightened forms and manifestations, just like samsaric minds are associated naturally with samsaric environments and manifestations. So it's very simple. Things are very simple. This is what we try to do at Amidaji, to make things simple, to present things in a simple way. Yeah.
Yeah, one of the things that I wanted to add to what Miyokaku was saying is that nowadays when you go into a temple, they assume that people know what Buddhism is about, So they think that they already know that we are trying to escape samsara and that we are trying to, understand that our evil karma is a problem and that we are trying to practice as hard as we can. In the case of Jiriki schools, in the case of schools that practice according to self-power, and also that we are trying to trust to Amida Buddha in the case of schools that rely on Amida Buddha, the Pure Land schools. But this is not what is happening, When people come into a temple, normally they don't understand the most basic, foundations of Buddhism. And that is a huge problem because they are assuming too much. For example, in the case of other Pure Land schools that I was part of, they just gave refuge to all kinds of people, and they ignored not only Pure Land Buddhism. That would have been easy, no? But they ignored the most basic ideas of Buddhism, like karma, samsara, and Buddhahood. So they couldn't explain to other people what they believed in. It's like Yoshin said. It's like Buddhism for them was something they did. It was like a set of rituals that they did, but they didn't believe in that. They didn't believe in the Buddhist cosmology. They didn't believe in the law of karma. If you don't have that, you don't have Buddhism. So you don't have anything to start with. And that's what I love about Amidaji. For example, in your very beautiful book on emptiness and Buddha nature, you quote from the Tibetan masters, from not only from Japan, because you consider yourself first a Mahayana Buddhist, you see? So Jodo Shinshu is not something that appears out of the blue. No, we have first the Mahayana foundations, and then Jodo Shinshu is like a house built on these foundations. So I think that is very important for people to realize this, that Jodo Shinshu is not like some weird religion in Japan. No, it's something that is part of a larger Mahayana context, you see?
Yes.
When I grew up in Texas as a Southern Baptist Christian, and I commented on this in my videos, my family never really took it seriously. It's like we assumed if you accepted Jesus Christ as your personal Lord and Savior, you knew you were saved and going to heaven. But we never read the Bible at home. We never seriously prayed at home. Only on Thanksgiving or Christmas dinners before those meals would we pray. It was a tradition. It was a show. And I think a lot of Buddhists are the same way. Both Masters Shinran and Renyo said, you're not supposed to just have gatherings as a social gathering. You're gathered together as a Sangha to discuss matters of faith. And I think even Renyo, he shut down a temple because all sorts of different people were just coming in to do empty rituals and light incense without having faith or focusing on faith or having a real foundation. And it goes back to what I've noticed in a lot of Buddhist temples. It's a social club. People are there to light the incense, ring the bells, and basically to be seen. It's like, hi, I'm a Buddhist. Here at Amidaji, our focus is on the foundation of faith. It's on the primal vow. And we at Amidaji are required to realize that we are a school of the primal vow. We're not here to be all willy-nilly about horoscopes and Taoism and everything else and then call ourselves Buddhists. We take it seriously. There's a sense of urgency about the fact that this life will end, and that if we don't take it seriously, we may never get to this point for maybe 1,000 or even 1,000,000 more lifetimes. And, there's a big difference in how you view Buddhism and define Buddhism as a Buddhist.
Yes. And I have a friend who once attended the funeral ceremony on the American continent. I don't say where. And there was an old Japanese priest there, old Japanese monk, Jodo Shinshu monk, who did the ceremony. And he asked, why do you do this? Why do you do that? And he didn't explain. He said, because we do it like that. That's not okay. Here at Amidaji, when you enter the hall of Amida or Amida-do, I can tell you every significance of all the ritual objects. Why do we have flowers on the altars? Why do you have the light? Because all the elements of the altar make you remember something. So, for example, flowers signify impermanence. They are beautiful now, but they will soon decay. See? So you sing to impermanence. Light, it presents the light of Amida. Why Amida Buddha is in standing position and not sitting? Because he's an active Buddha who comes to you to save you. He doesn't sit in meditation for himself. He comes to you. This is why. So this is why he has the gestures that are made to you. So that's very important. You can explain Jodo Shinshu to people by explaining the elements in the Amida Do. See, this is very important. Yes, and there are many things that are accepted just like that in Japan. For example, many Japanese think that once you die, dead people are Buddhas or Hotoke or Buddhas just because they died. You know, it's not like that. If you had faith in Amida, then you become a Buddha. We should, when we transmit the Dharma from Japan to all the places in the world, we transmit the Dharma, not Japanese customs, not Japanese beliefs, not Japanese superstitions. This is very important. Also, as Kosho said, Shinran Shonin also criticized many monks of his time and lay people for praying to various gods, for holding auspicious days and lucky days. He did that in Shozomatsu Vasan, in the Hymns of the Dharma Ages. I think I have here those. He said like this. Shinran Shonin said like this: as a mark of increase in the 5 defilements, all monks and lay people of this age behave outwardly like followers of the Buddhist teaching, but in their inner thoughts believe in non-Buddhist paths. It is exactly as Kosho said. And Shinran also says how lamentable it is that monks and lay people select fortunate times and auspicious days, and paying homage to gods of the heavens and earth, engage in divination and rituals of worship. Monks are not different in their hearts from non-Buddhists, Brahmans or followers of Nirgranta. They always wearing the Dharma robes of the Tathagata. They pay homage to all gods and spirits. So he's very clear, Shinran. And he says how lamentable it is that at present all the monks and lay people of Japan, while following the Buddhist rules of conduct, venerate gods and spirits of the heavens and earth. So this is in the light of Shinran's words, we have to read all other things that Renyo said about Kami, for example. That's very important. Because there was the tendency in Japan to mix Buddhism with Shintoism and to say that all Kamis are Buddhas. You see? So that's, but in Japan, perhaps you can never know. If, for example, certain Kami, perhaps, I don't know, was a manifestation of a Buddha. Perhaps, I don't know. But in Japan, they say that Kamis are also the spirits of the dead. So we can't accept that any Kami was a manifestation of a Buddha. We can't accept that. And it is also very important to mention that any Buddha manifestation will never ever teach non-Buddhist teachings. So any Buddha manifestation will somehow, in a form or another, they will always teach the Dharma and try to transmit in any form only Buddhist teachings, see, or something that is similar with the Dharma. So we can't say, as many Chinese, I met some Chinese and even Japanese who said that, oh, even Jesus was a Buddha. or a bodhisattva, you know, perhaps a Buddha manifested in the form of Jesus or of various Christian saints, because he misunderstood some sayings of various masters of the past. Well, that can be possible, because if those guys were really a manifestation of any Buddha, they would teach Buddhist teaching. They would not teach about a creator God. See? Yes.
And yeah, I've asked a Zen master once what Buddhists think about Jesus, and he said, "Yeah, we think he's a bodhisattva," which is totally false. Also, Ippen promoted viewing kami, certain kami, as a manifestation of Amida Buddha. And he would also make comments like, Amida is the mountains, Amida is the wind, Amida is the trees. I am Amida, you are Amida. And you have all these different teachings that basically water down the message of, you know, Dharmakara becoming Amitabha Buddha and making the 48 vows. And these 48 vows were meant to be taken seriously by Shakyamuni Buddha when he shared them to his disciples. And, you know, these are not just concepts, at least not for our school. The primal vow is the core foundation of our teaching.
Many people in the past said many things in various contexts, and many masters said many things in various contexts. But we should also look to the present day context, and we live in a world where many people mix various elements of different religions, and they create ugly soups. Ugly spiritual soups that are not useful to anybody. And if we want to know of a tree, we look to its fruit, and the fruit of such mixing is clearly not faith, not a clear faith. The results and fruits of such mixing will lead to something that is not in agreement with the primal vow. And in the primal vow, Amida said, "Entrust to me." So, and these guys don't entrust exclusively to Amida, so they are not in agreement with the primal vow. See, this is how we check everything people say. We compare what they say with the three elements of the primal vow. Entrust to Amida, entrust to me, said Amida, say my name and wish to be born in my land. And these three requirements are exclusive requirements, because Amida mentioned them exclusively. He didn't say, entrust to me and to this other guy. He didn't say my name and do this and that practice. So those are exclusive requirements. Those anybody, any theory, any ideology, religious or worldly, who doesn't come in agreement with these three exclusive requirements, it's fake. It's fake, and we don't follow it. Yes, we need this nowadays. We need this strictness. This is why Amidaji became an independent branch of Jodo Shinshu, because we think we need this strictness. Yes. Okay. If anybody wants to add something or propose another topic, please, Miyokar.
Sensei, Namo Midutsu again. On that matter, and following this natural course of the conversation or the guidance, I still studying, I think it's called the Ryogemon,
Yes.
Okay. From that perspective, could you, I know for the other members here, it's probably an old topic, but I'm kind of curious. So I want to present this in kind of a question and a suggestion for you to lead the talk today. First things first, why are we not the gatekeepers and behave like gatekeepers in terms of blocking Amida to others that are seeking Amida, and how do we do this responsibly? Second will be,
please repeat the question. Please repeat the question.
yeah, how do we avoid becoming gatekeepers like this Japanese dude that you mentioned? Because that was the perfect moment for someone to ask, and this guy should have told him, oh, look, we do this because of this, this, and that. The other one, there is the term Arya Sangha. How are we the Arya Sangha? What does it mean? I think those two questions.
But I explained to you what is Arya Sangha when you took the 3 refugees. Arya Sangha represents the Sangha in its aspect of Shinjin. So Arya Sangha represents people who have faith in Amida Buddha. They can be the lowest of the low, or they can be the highest bodhisattvas on the 10 bhumi. As long as they have true faith in Amida Buddha, then those people represent Arya Sangha. See? So we take refuge in the Arya Sangha. Everybody who has faith in Amida Buddha is our refuge in the aspect of the Sangha. Okay? That's important. And that guy, that Japanese priest, was surely not a gatekeeper. He was a fake, like many people are in Japan also. When they become, they inherit the temple from the father, and then they transmit the temple to the son, and so on. And it's a family business, you know. And also, as you see, Honganji leadership is also transmitted from father to son. They have no doctrinal basis for transmitting the office of Monshu or Patriarch of Honganji through this bloodline from Shinran. Yes, Renyo was a very good Monshu. Yes, he was. But the present day Monshu does absolutely nothing. And the previous Monshu too did absolutely nothing. I mean, yes, he had some good sayings in this and that conference, but they were not like Renyo. See? So what's the point? Why, for example, in the office of Monshu can't be transmitted to a woman if she is very good and she has faith and a very good understanding of the Dharma? Why to transmit it to your son? And why not to the best student that you have? See? So this is why we at Amidaji, we try to be good gatekeepers, as you say, by appointing serious people with faith, but also with a very good understanding of the Dharma as teachers and monks. And see, this is what we are trying to do. And we ourselves, no matter what that we are monks or lay, we have to educate ourselves to study the Dharma. Studying the Dharma is very important at Amidaji, because we have to be examples of faith to others and to be ready to answer the questions of others. Because you don't, if somebody asks you a question about the Dharma, you don't call me or Daigan or I don't know, Joshin or Kishin. You have to answer yourself. So this is how you become a good gatekeeper. You study the Dharma well, and you have faith, and you prove to others that you are constant in your faith. Because people might not take you serious in the first year or first months as a Jodo Shinshu. They will say, oh, this will pass. This is just a hobby for him. But if they see you that 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, you are constant on the same faith, they will say, oh, this guy is serious. And if they see that you know many things about the Dharma, they will start asking questions. And then you act as a teacher, even if officially you are not a teacher, but everybody can act as a teacher for his family, friends, and so on, for his drinking buddies. If you go to bars and drink a lot, then when you get drunk, you can talk about the Dharma with your fellow drunkards. That's good. Or if you have many ladies, like Joshin has, he can talk with his ladies a lot about the Dharma. Sorry, Kishin, please continue.
No, I think just to add one thing, I think what is distinguishing us from other groups also is that we all reached a point, of course, we all had a religious path, a way, a journey, and all of us, we tried things, we discovered some things, but now this is a kind of end point. And I think what is important for us, for Jodo Shinshu, and especially Amidaji, is that we all are on a point that we can say we know what we want. This is something, if you ask this to other religious people or even to Buddhists, what do you really want? They start to think, they hesitate, just a second, I have to think about it. But for us, we reached a point that we say, okay, what do I want? I want to leave samsara because it's bad. Wherever you look, in a heaven, in a hell, in other realms, samsara is a bad place. And what I really want is to leave samsara and go to the Pure Land. This is what I really want. And this is one step every one of us finished already in the past, that everyone individually came to the point to say, okay, I have understood samsara is not the place for me where I want to be for all eternities. I want to leave and I want to go to another better place, which is the Pure Land, and only the Pure Land. This is the one and only thing that you really have, so to speak, to do. Yeah, all the other branches of Buddhism, they're always doing something. They want to develop themselves, and they want to get higher, and they want to reach the level of spirituality and whatever. But this is something that we already finished. I know samsara is a shithole. I want to leave it, not instantly, because of course I'm also deep in my life. Yeah. But when I leave it, I don't want to come back. I want to go to a better place. And this is the land of the Buddha Amida. And that's all. And this is, I think, a big thing that distinguishes us from other groups, maybe, or other religious people. If you ask them, what do you really want? Then they start to think, and then they start to find many, many words. And you can hear that while they are firing all these words, they're still in the process of thinking, what the fuck, what is what I want? And this is something different in this group. We all know what we want in the end. And all again, everything else, this is just okay. This is Sangha, this is ritual, this is always remembering what the masters of our lineage said. This is getting deeper into the details. But the big point is just to know what you want. And what you want is go to the Pure Land of Amida Buddha. And that's it. And if you got this, you got it all. In the end, this is completely what you really need to make clear in your head with yourself, and then stick to it. And if you really understood it, you will stick to it. There is no other option. Samsara is not another option. So this is, we go to the Pure Land, and that's it.
Yes. A genuine religious person knows all this. Yes. You know, we cannot say that members of Amidaji have the monopoly on faith and the Dharma, because I'm sure there are many people, individuals in many groups, many religious groups, Jodo Shinshu groups, who know what they want and who have true faith. But the problem with the leadership level in many religious institutions, leadership level, and what is officially promoted in that institution. That is the problem. This is why we thought we need to separate ourselves, because we created this vehicle. Amidaji is a Dharma vehicle to show people some clear guidance. So because this is needed, not because we as individuals, we have all the monopoly of the Dharma and we know everything and everybody else is just, I don't know, stupid or doesn't have faith because he doesn't belong to Amidaji. So we do not have this cult-like mentality, as some people accuse us. You see? We know why we separated ourselves, why we made this group, because we want serious people. We want to have as fellow travelers only serious people who know what they want, who know what they want to go, and who really want to learn the Dharma as it was taught by Shakyamuni in the Sutra and the masters of our lineage. This is why. See? Not because we think we are the best. As Kosho said, we hope that other people may organize themselves in other groups and create many Dharma vehicles, many religious institutions that can also transmit the true Dharma. And yes, why not? We should not be the only group who does that. Yes.
Sensei, on that matter, if I may,
Yes, please.
how should we?
If you
what
want to
is
say
the recommend-
something, just say it. Yes.
On that sense, I'm beginning to understand the importance of respecting others' views and realizing we all of us right here, one common denominator is we began on different paths. So we should respect these paths, not practice them, but respect them, because it's like an RPG with all these crappy, shitty stick swords that you begin, and then you get to the real boss, and we already got the final boss, and we're here, so to speak.
Yes, we respect all other Buddhist paths and all other Buddhist schools, other genuine Buddhist schools, because they rely on the same Shakyamuni Buddha. See?
Mhm.
Yes, of course. But we do not. We don't have time for people who do not respect and do not follow the basics of Buddhism, of Buddhist teaching, who deny the existence of Buddhas or Amida, and who treat Buddhism in a symbolical manner, you know, and just because they have robes. We don't care if they have robes, but they teach wrong views. They worship, if they mix practices, if they worship, if they say it's okay to be a Christian and a Buddhist, no, we don't have respect for such views, because we do not even consider them to be Buddhists. We consider them as people who broke their refuge vows. See? So you are
How
Buddhist
you-
only if you accept the Buddhist teachings.